Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 39. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going, Dory?
I was so excited about this episode. I was about to do finger guns, and then I realized, wait, I got to hold on a second. Yeah, I'm doing all right. My cough is acting up today, so that's fun. Um, but I'm super excited. We're going to talk about the Developer Direct, which I loved. Was probably one of the best showcases I've ever seen from anybody. Probably, definitely the best Developer Direct. And then we're going to talk about what we've been playing, plus some news items like whether GTA should be. No, I'm sorry, I almost got sick. Should almost be $100. And then we got some other stuff here and there to talk about too. So I'm very excited about this episode, as shown by my two quick finger guns. But yeah, I'm otherwise doing well. Been playing a lot of indies lately, so we'll talk about a couple of those.
All right, so let's jump right into it. GTA 6 could potentially be $100. This was a big discussion this week about games potentially being $100 and GTA setting the precedent. So, starting with GTA. So GTA 6 is the biggest game of the year if it comes out this year, and it's expected to be the highest selling game of the year, if not the decade, as GTA 5 was the highest selling game for a long time until Minecraft came out. And a lot of people were having conversation about would they spend $100 on GTA, because GTA 6 obviously the hype and everything. Could they get away with $100? And Dory, do you think Rockstar can get away with $100
Absolutely, they
games?
can.
Yeah.
Yep,
Hmm.
they absolutely could. If there is one company in this goddamn world that could get away with doing this absolute war crime, it is definitely Rockstar. Rockstar is a huge, and for good reason, huge, built-in fan base that are very loyal. GTA Online is one of the most popular online services and has been for over 10 years. For people who say that they don't, Rockstar doesn't do anything anymore. Obviously, Red Dead 2 as well was a huge hit. So yeah, if there is any corporation, any gaming company that can charge $100 for its game, Rockstar could do it. I could see it.
I agree. I think Rockstar can definitely get away with it, and they know that. But I'm not sure. I believe that it's going to be $100. I feel like that's just speculation for conversation. I feel like it's just someone pushing a story, just for people to have a discussion about it. I,
Yeah, I mean it's rooted in a study done by some people who I forget the exact name, but it's been talked about on IGN and Gaming Bolt, and they give proper context. But to the best of my recollection, it's based on a study somebody did about increasing or prices that have increased over the years towards video game production and how much they've been sold and whatnot, and speculating that Rockstar could do this. Obviously, Rockstar hasn't made any announcement of any kind since the debut trailer broke the internet. I actually checked the other day. I think it's got like 254 million views,
yeah.
which is like a quarter of a billion. So that's absolutely insane. Um, so yeah, I mean, I agree with you though. I don't think they will. I think the scary thing is they could, and hopefully Take Two doesn't do their parent company, I believe, or their publishing company, doesn't push for that. But yeah, it's all based on a study by I don't know one guy or a group or whatever. People who are talking about the financials of video games. So it's all conjecture, all speculation. It does come from people who get paid to do this, so that they're professionals, right? So they're not. It's not just some like hack leaker or spectator or whatever. But at the same time, it is at the end of the day speculation.
Yeah, so games already went up $10 from $60 to $70. So we've gotten used to the norm of $70. But of course, you don't have to buy games day one anyway. That's only a lot of people don't do that, but a lot of people do as well. But we already do have $100 games if you think about it. I mean, if you buy the seasons pass, if you buy the deluxe editions, those are like $80 now. The
Yeah,
collector's editions, DLC. If you add up DLC that comes out
microtransactions.
a year later, like it still counts as spending $30 for that game. So that's
Hmm.
$100. So we do play it in a way, although generally I feel like it's better to wait for a game to get. You don't have to get everything day one, and then two, I feel like even like a casual audience will see $100 price tag and be like, nah, I ain't spending $100 on a game. Like I feel like $100 just sounds expensive no matter what. I feel
Yeah,
like I think GTA can get away with it, but I don't think anything else can. Like,
I think it's a very I'm not quoting from the IGN podcast discussion, but I think it's a very short list of companies who could ever get away with that. And
yeah,
Rockstar is number one, and I even find it hard to imagine a number two or number three. I'm sure they're out there. And technically, again, just like Seb, you could argue we already have $100 games. Look at collector's edition, microtransactions, DLC. I mean, think about what that all adds up to. I think if I think about Kingdom Hearts 3, which was $60 at release, I think. Remind was about 20 or $30. I think maybe 30. So I spent about $100 for Kingdom Hearts 3 in total, right? And I mean, for me, that was worth it, of course. And it's DLC; it's not just one game. But we're talking about GTA 6, the base game, being sold $100. Now, I'm on record on saying I'm not really a big fan of Rockstar and the way they've done things in the past. I mean, I don't really keep up with their games anyway. I grew up on San Andreas and Vice City, but I didn't play a lot of the GTA games after that, and a lot of their sense of humor just doesn't roll with me personally. But obviously, they're a much different company now, 10 years later, 15 years later from when I played their last game. But at any rate, yeah, I mean they've got a big, like I said before, they've got a big fan base to work with. And they could absolutely get away with this if they wanted to. I don't know that they will, but I mean, there's been polls and stuff like that IGN was doing, and a lot of people. I was looking at comments and stuff in the video, and also from Gaming Bolt, and obviously on Twitter as well, and other social media. And most people are rejecting it. Like most people are like, "Fuck no!" Like I do not want video games to be $100, even if it's GTA 6. I would still probably not buy it, is what a lot of people are saying. Not everybody, of course. There's definitely a passionate hardcore audience that would. I mean, they've been waiting 10 years. I can't really even blame them, right? So yeah.
I'm a huge GTA fan, and I've beaten every GTA since Grand Theft Auto 3 when I was like 8 in like 2001. But if GTA 6 is $100, I'm not getting it day one. I would rather wait. I refuse to support that on principle. And it would also just be not a smart move by a consumer to buy $100 game when I can just wait a couple months and the game will drop in price. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I feel like a lot of people are gonna be the same way. It's just not wise to spend $100 on a game when you can wait a few months and games go down half price. That's what I said. There's not even a point of getting games day one anyway. I think I do that because I want to play it, and I do it because of the podcast if I want to, or I just like to keep up. Like I'm a hardcore though. I'm in that 1% sphere. But for other people, I would never recommend getting games day one. Never mind $100 games. I feel like that's just stupid. And I think Rockstar knows that. Like I know they can get away with it, but at the same time, I feel like I don't think the controversy is worth it. The conversation.
Yeah,
That's gonna be the
I
focal
agree. I
point
mean,
more than anything. Is that?
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's bad PR. Um, I I mean, I think the entire video game industry is kind of not at a standstill, but going in slow motion, wondering what Rockstar is going to do, when they're going to release it, because we still don't have a date. We just know it's coming out this year, allegedly, right? We've heard nothing about it ever since. So some people are conjecturing it'll be delayed, but we still have the whole year to go. So,
Yeah.
um, I I definitely understand that if they did increase the price, it could cause other publishers to think the same. But I mean, even for those Sony games, right? First party Sony games that I paid $70 for, God of War, Spider-Man 2, one of the best superhero games of all time. I'm not gonna say I didn't get my money's worth, but it's a steep price. And like I feel like would only do per year a couple, maybe a few $70 games every year. 60 is not great either, but it's more palatable to me at this point. I don't even remember when games used to cost $50, to be honest with you. And whenever I do see games that are
PS2.
$50, like we'll talk about yeah, probably. Like Ninja Gaiden, which is Ninja Gaiden Black, which we'll talk about later. That's at least somewhat expected, but I'm still kind of surprised to see 49.99 because you just don't really see that a lot. Obviously, unless you get into indies, but that's a completely different sphere.
Yeah. Games have gotten more expensive in general. I mean, back in the day when Nintendo had a console and then it had a handheld, the handheld games were like $30. Anytime I got a new
Yeah,
Pokemon game, I want to see like Sun and Moon was like $30 or 35 or something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Or not, or was it Sun and Moon? It might have been X and Y. Either way, those games were cheaper than the console games. Now, like
Right.
everything is mixed together, and now every single Switch game is $60.
Yeah.
And
And I
even
know
go ahead.
there's some arguments and stuff like that for like, oh well, if you keep inflation in mind, then really the costs haven't gone up, and of course, costs of production have gone through the roof too, as people developers treat video games more like movies, projects that take 4 or 5 years. It's been 6 years actually just recently since Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. We still don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts 4, right? So, I mean, I think some of this is a self-inflicted issue, right? I think some of the rising costs are completely on greedy developers, and while they're getting paid more, the people under them aren't getting paid as much, or getting paid nearly as much as they should be. So, it would be nice if we were paying more money for something that's actually going to help the studio itself rather than just help the investors or stockholders or something like that. And, some of it's like Dragon Age Veilguard was recently declared to underperform, right? I think it sold 1.5 million units or something like that. And Twitter's, of course, going crazy. It's like, oh, we'll go broke, blah, blah, blah. But they're ignoring the fact that EA has unrealistic standards, just like Square Enix, just like other corporations these days, about how much their games are going to sell. People aren't buying video games as much ever since the pandemic, especially because it's just not as much of a necessity as it is. Now, obviously, things are better since 2020, but we're still kind of, getting used to the new normal of that. Um, Though it's hard. I mean, video games are not the first thing I think about. If I spend money on a video game in a given month, I either have some gift cards or I have a good amount of spare money on my hand that I can feel okay using on. Um, so yeah, it's some of it's self-inflicted, some of it I understand, inflation and whatnot. You can't really control that. But at the same time, it's just not a good look for them PR wise, even if they got to eat costs. I honestly just wish the video game industry would start like coming back to where it used to be. I'm gonna sound like an old person here, but like, smaller games, smaller cycles, like less production costs. But I know that's not going to happen at this point because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Even some of my, and I'm a total hypocrite too, because some of my favorite games are those absolute movie quality video games, Last of Us Part Two, Ragnarok, stuff like that from Sony that I spend $70 on. So I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm not part of the issue here, because I definitely am. But yeah, it's a tricky subject, and I hoping that Rockstar makes the right choice. Again, this is all conjecture, speculation. Rockstar has said absolutely zilch about any of this. We don't even know if it's actually coming out in 2025, just that it's supposedly. So we shall see. But yeah, important to reemphasize that Rockstar hasn't said anything. This is just coming from a report from somebody who does this for a living, basically.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger conversation on this topic. I don't think this is going to happen in terms of everybody following GTA's precedent. I don't think games are going to be $100. But I think the bigger conversation is the fact that budgets have become overly bloated, and I feel like too many of these companies are spending 500 to 600 million dollars on giant games, which we don't need to be that widespread. I have no issue with these games. I love cinematic games, but at the same time, they have to scale back a lot. The industry is getting way too overly bloated, and the same problem is happening in Hollywood as well. And at some point, you can't. It's not the consumer's responsibility to support the devs. It's because at the end of the day, it's a product, and we're the ones consuming, and we have to make the decision to buy things. And as much as I support the devs and we want the best for them and everything, the executives are putting them in tough situations because they're setting high expectations, and if they don't reach those ridiculous expectations,
Right.
the studio gets shut down. People lose their
I mean, I'm pretty
jobs.
sure Square said that Final Fantasy remake Rebirth didn't not Rebirth.
They're
Yeah,
rebirth.
Rebirth, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought for a second that that was the first one, but didn't perform to expectations. And I'm like,
No.
I don't know, like that's fucked up. That's just a fucked up scale to say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth didn't meet expectations when it was critically
Yeah.
acclaimed by and large, sold incredibly well. I
But
just think I think it's a corporate issue. I don't think it's a game issue. I don't think it's a dev issue. I think it's a stockholder investor issue. I'm not saying everything is their fault necessarily, but I think a lot of it goes on them. Um, and yeah, point blank, I mean, I'm not super interested in GTA 6, but if it does get incredible reviews and it was like $70, like I would definitely at least consider it. But if it's like 100, like no way. Like I'll wait till, or even 80. I would wait until a price decrease. I don't know how fast Rockstar Games go on sale for or how early it takes them. I know it's not as fast as Ubisoft, but I was looking up like when principal development started for GTA 6. It's been in development for 7 years at least, since Red Dead 2 released in 2018. So yeah, 7 years. I mean, that's crazy. That's almost an entire decade of people's lives just towards one project. And okay, I know this is ridiculous in this particular case, but imagine if GTA 6 was a flop or something. Obviously, it won't be. This is a ridiculous situation scenario, but that's 7 years of your life you've dedicated to one thing, and for it to be a flop is just. I mean, I can't even imagine the kind of devastation that someone would deal with. And this isn't just a video
Yeah.
game industry issue. This is a movie industry issue too, right? You see people dropping millions and millions and billions of dollars even on certain projects that don't make up their money at all. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's a different conversation. But it's just to say it's a it's a systemic issue. It's a societal issue. It's not just video games that are overproducing, over budgeting, overpricing their stuff. I mean, everything has gone up. So,
Sure.
including the price of eggs. It's just not a good situation for anybody. So I'm hoping that they'll make the right choice. I don't care if they put it at 70. I think that's reasonable. GTA 6 is going to be massive,
Mm.
huge game. I'm sure people who pay 70 will feel like they got what they're worth. But I mean, it's not a first-person Sony game, right? Question mark. I don't think Rockstar is a first-person, owned by Sony or anything like that. Maybe
No,
they're be
it's owned by Take
third.
Two. It's third party.
Right, right, right. And I said that earlier, so I should have known that. Doy. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's $60 or $70 is what I'm hoping they do, but
Oh, yeah.
they could get away with it.
It
They
will.
could do it.
I think it would be $70. I'm not too concerned about that. I think there still studios are realizing, a lot of publishers are realizing the budgets are getting absurdly high, and I feel like with Astrobot winning Game of the Year and things like that, even then there's been a lot of firings in the industry, largely because they've been scaling back, because what happened was it just got overly bloated during COVID. They started hiring a bunch of people. So I do think the budgets are going to start scaling back a bit. I'm not saying we're not going to get AAA games, because we definitely are. But I feel like it is, hopefully we'll get better. I feel like there's some signs to point towards that, but we'll see. But we've been talking about this topic enough, so let's move on to the next topic, which is Phantom Blade Zero, the official year of the Snake gameplay trailer. So we got to see more gameplay of Phantom Blade Zero, which is supposed to come out this year. Dory and I were both excited about it. We talked about it in the past. It got revealed at a State of Play, and there was a big gameplay demo that people got to play exclusively. And people weren't able to show it or anything, but they were able to describe their experiences. And it sounds like it's a Souls-like game, not Souls-like, but Souls-like, maybe more on the lines of Black Myth Wukong. Dory, did you watch this trailer?
I absolutely did.
What'd you think of it?
Immediately as soon as it came out. I'm very excited for this game. The first time I saw it, I think it looks incredible.
Yeah.
The Black Myth Wukong kind of success has kind of helped this studio as well. And it obviously shows that that they're also going to it's also going to help them kind of focus on. I was trying to find the studio name. I can't remember. I think it's S Game or something.
S game, yes.
But yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. I'm very excited for it. The gameplay looks incredible. The reaction time, it's so fast and smooth. It's definitely got some Souls-ish atmosphere. I think it's more akin to a hack and slash. I think the devs have said that it's not a Souls game, but you could argue
They
it's a
haven't.
Souls light.
No.
They haven't? Oh, okay. I thought
No. I mean, well, I've seen people say it's Souls light in terms of like Black Myth Wukong, but I have seen the devs say that it's not a Souls game. But it doesn't. I'm
Right,
watching
okay.
gameplay and it doesn't look like a Souls game.
Yeah, it's
Reminds me of
kind
Black
of, I
Myth.
mean,
That's what it reminds me of, which is Souls Light.
yes, it looks like
Souls
Black
Light.
Manta. It looks like a kind of classic hack and slash like Ninja Gaiden that's focused on difficulty.
Yeah, Ninja
Um,
Gaiden's a better comparison, I think.
yeah. Kind of, I don't know, not really like Bayonetta, maybe more like Devil May Cry in some ways in terms of the combos that you can do. I think graphically it looks incredible.
Mm.
I think aesthetically, like I'm watching right now, it says Chief Disciples Fallen Hope. That's definitely a great title. But he's like controlled by like by wires and stuff. So you're kind of like fighting a puppet
Yeah, that was
before you
cool.
can fight the other guys. It's such a cool concept that I'm surprised I haven't seen it more in video games, or at least not to my recollection. It feels like a Metal Gear Solid kind of approach to boss fights. Very unique in this particular fight. I mean, yeah, the animation just looks. That's probably the best part. The animation.
Oh, is it all the bosses like that, or is just this boss has puppets?
I think it's just this boss, but
Yeah,
because we've seen one of the other bosses, and it kind of has some not stealth mechanics, but kind of like you got to take the boss by surprise and attack him from the side and stuff like that, and take
yeah,
cover behind pillars because he's basically got like a one hit KO attack. But obviously the trade off is it's not slow, but it's not as fast as the other enemies.
yeah.
Um, I believe there's going to be difficulty levels as well. I will probably play it on normal, but if I need to, I'll adjust as necessary. But yeah, I mean, it looks incredible. The sound effects are there. I'm trying not to like play it while I'm on mute, but it just looks really impressive, especially for, I guess they have some, like, I was watching an interview with them with IGN, and they do have some obviously gaming experience. They made some mobile games. Uh Basically they admitted that were kind of like to pay the bills so they
Yeah.
could do their dream project, which is kind of how you want to do game development, right? You want to kind of do those smaller, you know, massive successful games, or at least games that are not too intensive to make, and then work your way up to something else.
Yeah. So I'm watching gameplay as well. I watched the whole boss fight right now, and the Ninja Gaiden comparisons are the most accurate to me. I feel like there's a lot of parrying and a lot of dodging, a lot of very very fast movements. Not where I would compare it to Sekiro parrying. It's nothing like that, but it's definitely fast. So if you, I feel like if you like this story, you should try out the Ninja Gaiden games because you might really like them because you like Devil May Cry. Devil
Yes,
May Cry is
I love DMC5.
yeah, Devil May Cry is a little crazier than that, but a little more over the
Yeah.
top. But still,
I, I
same
am
fast combat.
considering uh, I am considering a game that we'll talk about later, but when we talk about the developer direct.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I haven't tried any of the, I didn't play didn't grow up with the Ninja Gaiden games. I was aware of them and I knew of them,
yeah.
but
They're
every
hard.
time someone would talk about them, they would talk about like how difficult they were
Mm.
and how like hard and like brutal, and I was like, I don't really want that stress in my life, so I went back to
Yeah,
playing Spider-Man 2 on PS2. Um, so, but yeah, I'm very excited for what we saw from Developer Direct. So I'm excited to talk about that later
sure.
on. But yeah, Phantom Blade Zero looks really good. It's got a release date of 2025. I thought they did more specifics here, but I guess they didn't. But yeah, it's I mean it's got 1 million views from PlayStation. It looks really good. I think I've said that like 5 times. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
So just to be clear, this trailer in particular was about the year of the snake because this is a Chinese game, and China has been kicking ass in the gaming market right now. They make some quality
Yep.
games, and it's great to see. I know they are very similar, but I'll take it. They're fun. But this one was pushing snake weapons, snake themed weapons, and they had a whole focus on the swords that he was using. It was like double blades. It was really fast. It was really cool. They called it soft snake sword, and that was cool. And gameplay, it was a white serpent. It was called Crimson Viper. So these are all like snake styled swords. I'm a big sucker on double blades. That's kind of my play style when I play these games. So that's maybe something along more along my lines. But overall, this game looks phenomenal. The gameplay looks incredible and the graphics look amazing. It's gonna be beautiful on my PC. I'm so hyped for this game. I'm hoping it comes out this year. It just looks great. And Black Widow Wukong got me excited for Chinese games now at this point, cinematic Chinese games, because this game just looks amazing. So we'll see. Hopefully it's really good and lives up to the hype. And yeah, I think that's everything we talked about this game. So let's move on to some spotlights. So Dory, you can start with your first spotlight, and then I'll talk about mine, and then you can close out with yours.
So mine are gonna be pretty short. I finished off the Deus Ex series, so I don't need to go on long for a long time. I'm gonna talk about 2 games today. I'll talk about this one first. Like I said, my cough is acting up today. It's called Mouthwashing. It's a really fucked up game. I don't recommend this game necessarily. It's basically not because it's bad. It's kind of like an Ari Aster film where, like Hereditary or Midsommar. It's a really, really fucked up piece of art, but it's an important piece of art if you can stomach it. Literally by the end of the game, I had like a stomach ache or something. Like I felt sick to my stomach just because of how the game ends up playing out. It's really fucked up. It's probably one of the most fucked up games I played. I'm not trying to overplay it, but it has a lot of triggering themes. It's got gore. It's not. It doesn't get too explicit with those triggering themes. But if you read between the lines at all, you can tell what's going on and what's happening. And I'll leave it at that. Um, Overall, I did love the game, but I did feel like the gameplay sections were definitely the weakest part of it. They either had clunky controls, like when you have a gun, or they feel unnecessary, like there's a couple of forced stealth sections, and those are never fun. Now, they are pretty sporadic. They don't happen very often, the gameplay sections, I mean. But when they do, yeah, I mean, I was already never going to replay this game, but these sections did not make me excited about that prospect either. It just felt kind of janky and felt like the devs maybe felt like they had to put this stuff in here just to make it more interactive. But I was completely fine with what the game was doing until those sections. So I don't know, it just felt unnecessary to me. There's also a few sections where I got confused about what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to do it. That wasn't a huge deal, but again, knock a point here, knock a point there, it adds up. Um, the plot synopsis: you were on a spaceship that is delivering something, and you are trying to figure out what or who caused a crash that has basically wrecked your ship, and you're stuck out in the middle of space. The game switches between different perspectives and timelines to help you figure out the mystery. Shit gets bad really fast, and that's all I'm going to say about the plot, because this is one of those games where the less you know, the better. It really is true in this case. I'm glad that I didn't know too much. I knew like a thing or two about certain themes that this game addresses that again are very triggering, but not explicitly done upon. Similar to Silent Hill 2, if you understand my meaning there. Um, Not the same exact theme, but along those lines. It does have really cool PS1 throwback graphics. I'm torn between saying it's PS1 or it's early PS2, but either way, I mean, character models are very distorted, almost not human-like. Environments are very kind of blurry and pixelated. It's a very cool atmosphere. Well, I say cool. The soundtrack is great. The voice acting is solid. But it's really all about the themes and atmosphere. You're not playing this game for the gameplay sections, like eating an orange and wanting vitamin B, right? It's just not what you're going to get here. But overall, a really great game. I can't really recommend it for a lot of people because I think you need kind of a strong constitution to deal with what the game is getting at least for me personally, like it really affected me, and I kind of like had to watch like some humorous like YouTube shorts and like some lighthearted stuff afterwards because I was like, that was a lot. It is pretty much it's a short game. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I recommend doing it in one sitting, because the game can get a little weird, and you might lose track of what's going on. But yeah, Mouthwashing, a really messed up game, and you should play it. Question mark. I don't know. Maybe go play it if you can deal with gore and very strong triggering themes.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I've been meaning to play it. So it isn't on my agenda for this year. So I'll definitely get to it at some point. especially since it's short, so that helps as well. All right, so I've been playing Dynasty Warriors Origins, which came out this month. It is a 2025, as I said, hack and slash video game developed by Megaforce, and it's published by Koei Tecmo. And it came out. It came out a couple weeks ago. So first of all, it's unique in the sense that this is the first Dynasty Warriors I can think of that has this much story to it. There's a lot of cutscenes and dialogue, a lot of character development. When I think of Dynasty Warrior games, I never really think of that. I usually just think of like massive gameplay, and this game definitely has that as well. But like I said, there's a big focus on gameplay. I mean, a big focus on story. It takes place in the first half of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel, and I think the cutscenes are okay. I think the characters are very over the top and goofy. It's very Asian. It just has like it has the talkative leader. It has the big brawly guy that's like quiet. Always wants to have a fight with somebody. It has like it has the typical like anime kind of stereotypes you expect to see with teams and the generals, and it feels very much so Asian. I want to say it's Japanese. It takes place in China though. It's very Asian, which is not a problem. I'm just saying don't expect anything hard hitting, phenomenal. But it is really cool seeing, and it is good, and I'm invested in the story. Gameplay is what you expect from Dynasty Warriors. It's just this one has tons and tons and tons of enemies on screen, more than I've ever seen. Apparently, they can have up to 10,000 soldiers on screen simultaneously. I'm playing on PC, and yeah, the number of people on screen is just insane. And I'm having no issues with my 4080. I'm getting high frame rate even with all the people on screen. So they've optimized this game very very well, and I think it's fun trying out different moves, play styles. Like you can use a sword, for example, or a spear, and all types of things. And you can level up each weapon and practice around with it and get new skills and pick one that you like the best. I've personally have liked the first sword for so far, more than anything. But I am experimenting with different ones. But it is really fun trying out different things. It's like one of those RPG systems where you can try out different class with your character. It's basically a class system, even though you play as the same character. The story evolves around a wanderer who has amnesia and he doesn't remember who he is, and apparently like this mystical. There's a lot of mysticism to it, like where you don't know if it's actually happening, and if there's like supernatural something going on, or he's imagining. You don't know, but it is interesting, and I'm interested to see where it goes with that. But he's really skilled, and he helps out generals fight armies that are invading, and he's kind of like a Roni Kenshin in a way, where he's not a samurai per se, but he's always like this wanderer who like wanders into like a big situation and helps out. And it's very Asian again, with the honor and respect, and they sit down, drink tea, discuss battle plan. It's really interesting, and it has a open map in the sense that like you kind of like those games where you have like a map, and you play as like a smaller version of the character, and you walk from point A to point B on a small little map. It does have that. And overall, I think the problem with this game, I would say, is the repetitive nature of Dynasty Warriors. I mean, the whole game is just fight a bunch of enemies, take out the generals, mission's over, go on to the next one. You basically do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So if you're not into this kind of style of gameplay, this hack and slash gameplay, it's not for you. But if you are into this, I think this is one of the best Dynasty War games, if not the best, in a long time. And I think this is a must play. This game is phenomenal for anyone that likes the Dynasty Warrior games or likes the style of games. It is a great game. I'm not saying it's gonna be my top 10 because it's really early, obviously, but this game is genuinely that good. I would say it's about 8.5 out of 10 for me. So I think it's in the great category. I think it's a really great game, and I think you should definitely play it if you're into this style of gameplay, hack and slash games. Um, but yes, just go into expecting that. Yeah, it's a Dynasty Warriors game. There's the focus of like fighting a bunch of enemies on screen is awesome, but it is very repetitive, and it's basically just have fun smacking a bunch of people around for a couple hours. So it does feel dated in that sense. It's very much so a more modern PS2 game, but who cares? It's fun, and that's all that matters. So, Dory, finally, you've also finished. Thank goodness you're here. Can you tell us about it, please?
Yeah, I meant to actually make the joke of saying, Seb, thank goodness you're here when we started, but I had forgotten. But Seb, thank goodness you're here. Let me tell you all about this incredibly happy and funny and jovial game called Thank Goodness You're Here, which is the exact polar opposite of the last game that I talked about. I actually put them back to back for this exact reason because I knew one of these games was going to be fucked up, and it's not the game about mince pies. So thank goodness you're here. Incredibly British. I think the most British thing I've ever experienced in my life, past maybe Monty Python. But even that I feel like has, integrated American culture so much. Um, I really liked it. I thought it was a great time. It's not, obviously, if it's not clear by now, it's not a very serious game. Basically, you are this short little guy who has come to a different town in Britain. It's very cartoony graphics, very lively atmosphere, jaunty soundtrack. The accents were wonderful, very authentic. It actually has a little thing at the beginning where you can have everyone speak Welsh, I think. And it asks you a question and you can either answer in the affirmative. I think it's Welsh. I could be wrong. I apologize if I'm wrong. But you either answer in the given language that they're saying to you, or you say, "Sorry, what?" And then it just puts you in normal, American English or British English, I should say. It's a very lovely crafted game. It's very funny. I'm not going to say like writing of the year for 2024. But the writing was really solid overall. I definitely had some moments where I laughed. There's some moments where I felt bad for certain characters. There's not you can't really spoil this game, but like there's this poor guy who there's some platforming segments. They're very easy, um, and you have to like climb into his chimney to get past his house to get to the river or get to a vegetable field, etc., etc. Like I said, very British. And you just make every single time you do it, you make absolute mess of his living room. And I think you do it like 3 or 4 times, and I just by the end of it I was like, dude, I feel so bad for this guy. He will never have a clean living room again, and he will just be living in fear that small people are going to come down his chimney and ruin his living room. But anyway, it's very fun. The gameplay is not too much to write home about, but I had a good time. The platform was surprisingly responsive. The characters were funny and sharply written. There is a trick you can do where if you just wait in the mayor, so basically you're a little guy from a different town. I got distracted, but you're here to help the mayor solve an issue. And actually, a little fun fact, if you wait, I didn't do this, but if you sit on the chair and just wait for 15 minutes for the mayor to see you, he'll actually see you. And then you can just like that'll hit the credits. And I thought about doing that just so I could finish another game really quickly, but I didn't do it because I don't want to play like that. But it is pretty funny. But then you kind of leave the mayor's office, you go into the town, you see that all these people have all these needs in the supermarket or the fish store or the butchers and big pies. Kind of some of the advertisements gave me Rick and Morty vibes, just like fake advertisements for fake products. So I thought that was very funny. Overall, it was a fun game. I don't it wouldn't have been on my top 10 or anything. I'm not sure Mouthwashing would have been either. It would have been closer. But thank goodness you're here was very funny. I recommend it absolutely. If you like British humor, definitely the game for you. It's not, don't expect a tearjerker or a very meaningful game. It's very silly. And don't think about some of the implications of certain things in this game too hard, or you'll be like, well, that's horrifying. In kind of a funny way. Yeah, it was a great time and I enjoyed myself. So thank goodness you're here. You can get it on Steam. It was pretty cheap when I got it, less than $20, I want to say. So go check it out.
All right, thanks, Dory. So let's get to our final topic of the night, which is a very loaded topic, of course, because it's the Xbox Developer Direct. Now, the Direct was right off the bat an awesome show.
Yes.
It showed 5 awesome games that I will be playing, all of them. And only my only complaint about this show was that it was they put it at like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm working. I would rather they
Yeah.
put it like 5 or something, but
The
whatever.
timing was bizarre.
I can watch it after. It's not a big deal, which I did, and it was great right off the bat. I mean, you start off a show with Ninja Gaiden 4, which was
Yep.
completely out of nowhere. At least for me, it was.
This
Um,
was a lot of people were saying that
yeah.
this wasn't totally out of nowhere for me. I'm not saying I anticipated it, but I thought because I had seen some conjecture from people on Twitter about how the new game that was the mystery game was supposed to be from a well liked, vaunted Japanese developer that hasn't seen anything for
Hmm.
a given franchise in a long time. So some people in the comments were like, "Oh, that sounds like Ninja Gaiden." Obviously, there were other guesses too, but Ninja Gaiden was one of the big guesses. So I wasn't super surprised, but I was, still pleasantly surprised. It was a good looking trailer. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So it basically the revival of Ninja Gaiden. We haven't had a mainline entry since 2012, so it's been 13 years since we've gotten that game. And just to be clear, it does come out on PS5, PC, and Xbox, so it's not just an Xbox only game or anything like that. But it is coming to Game Pass day one as well. So apparently, it's set in a demon-infested Tokyo, post Ninja Gaiden 3, and it focuses on Ryu Hayabusa, I think his name is. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
Hayabusa.
Rio. I always call him Rio. I don't know his last name. And he introduces a new character, Yakumo, who employs 2 distinct fighting styles, Raven and New. I think New A. But right off the bat, the gameplay looks phenomenal. I mean, Ninja Gaiden shines with the gameplay. That's why people love these games so much. It's platinum. Is collabing with them, so you can see the platinum influence. First, it's fast, very action packed, very fast, very Bayonetta, over the top, a lot of platforming kind of sections, rail grinding, wall running, fighting a bunch of enemies on screen, doing crazy combos. It has a lot of gore. That was a big focus on this in this trailer was a lot of gore, a lot of decapitation, a lot of blood flying everywhere. Very stylized blood though. Nothing like nothing, Last of Us Part 2, but it was very much like anime styled gore. Very fun to watch. It looks like a blast to play. It looks like it's gonna be really hard. Ninja Gaiden games are hard, and that's what it looks like here. Um, like as we talked about, like Phantom Blade, same kind of vibes. Like it's just really fast action. Although this looks a bit harder. There's a lot. It was a lot of like sections where you had to like be very precise in your dodging and your movements. Like there was like one of the boss was shooting like projectiles at you and you had to keep jumping over it, and very much like Returnal kind of thing. So this game just looks difficult, but it looks really hype. We didn't get a release date, but it says 2025, so I'm guessing it's going to be in the fall. But this looks hype, and I'm so glad that we're getting this. This looks awesome. Everything I'm seeing, it looks amazing. I haven't played a Ninja Gaiden game in a while. I will get the next game that we're going to talk about. But for now, but I do have the collection of all of them on Steam, so I will at some point I'll go through the series in preparation for this one. So it looks really hype, and yeah. Dory, what did you think of Ninja Gaiden 4?
Looked incredible. As somebody who has never played a Ninja Gaiden game for aforementioned reasons, this looks amazing. I am sort of interested. Um, I'm going to temper my interest because I don't know how tough this is going to be. Team Ninja wants this to be authentic in terms of the difficulty and atmosphere that Ninja Gaiden usually gives. Definitely looks challenging. There's some bullet hell elements. Um, but at the same time, I mean, it just looks so damn good. I feel like I'm going to be passing something up if I don't at least give it a try. If they've got difficulty modes or difficulty sliders and stuff, I might be more interested. But even if they don't, I'm still interested. Now, what else is interesting to me is that I think you can play as Hayabusa, um, but there was definitely more of a uh, more of a more of a emphasis on the new guy, who
Yeah.
we talked about before. So I don't know if it's just him. Originally, when I watched the trailer, I was like, "Wow, you're not gonna be able to play as Ryu? Like that's a big gamble." Obviously they're doing kind of the Devil May Cry thing where you pass it on to the next generation, and that's kind of what happened over DMC 3 and 4 and 5.
Four and
Is
five.
that Nero? What's that?
4 and 5.
4 and 5. Whoops. That Nero eventually got the reins.
Yeah.
Wore a really bad wig one time too. No, I'm just kidding. That was a different guy.
Yeah,
But
Nero is the main character of 4 only. Like Dante is in 5, but Nero was like it was the protagonist in 4 basically.
oh, okay, all right. I'm not up on my DMC lore. Um, but this looks really hype, and I hope you can play as both. Although I'm not super invested in Ninja Gaiden as a franchise. I hope it will be accessible, but if they decide not to make it accessible, look, I get it. These games are supposed to be tough. I'm not going to rip into the game or whatever. That'd be silly. I think it looks fantastic. The music looks incredible. The gore looks great. Obviously, it looks awesome because I kind of want to play it. Despite like the reason I don't like playing hard games is like I can get really frustrated at video games. I don't like getting frustrated. So that's really it. I mean, that's really it. I just don't like getting frustrated at games. I mean, certain games I'll do that for, like Kingdom Hearts, I'll play on critical, or I'll fight the super bosses and stuff like that on critical. But those are exceptions to the rule. And generally speaking, I just don't enjoy games that I have to beat my head up against a wall over and over again to play. And I like my games to be more accessible. But some people don't like that, and that's fine too. But yeah, I just wanted to explain like my reticence. But yeah, I mean, I can't deny that it looks good. It
You,
looks real good.
you guys heard that? Dory's about to do a Sekiro stream this year.
Oh my god, fuck's sake! I haven't even done a stream in a long time. I don't even remember the last game I streamed.
It was Returnal, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Eternal. I think it was Doki Doki, or it might have been. I did a lot of story-based games. I don't remember what it was.
Gotcha. All right. So Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remastered got shadow dropped at this show. And wow, that came out of nowhere as well. So basically, it's Ninja Gaiden 2, but completely enhanced, looks way better, and also on PS5, PC, and Xbox. And yeah, it's $50, as Dory even said earlier, which caught me off guard. $50 for remaster is a little feels like a steep, but I have to look at it a little deeper before I get it. But either way, it looks awesome. People seem to be digging it. And Dory, do you have any interest in Ninja
I
Gaiden
had
2
some
Black?
interest. I wanted to make a note about the game. Um, and there's some debate within the community. I don't have a horse in this race, but there's some people saying, okay, so first off, the marketing is kind of not really true. This isn't really Ninja Gaiden remake. It's more
It's a
like
remaster, yeah.
apparently there was a game called Sigma 2, and it incorporates a lot of what, or at least some, from what came from Sigma 2. So this isn't them remaking the original Ninja Gaiden 2. It's like I guess Sigma 2 wasn't well received by fans, so this is them trying to do a mea culpa and trying to like make a better version of that.
Yeah.
Some people are split. It has a mostly positive um sort of a review or overall review based on 730 people. So, I mean, and the top reviews are either negative or they're positive. Like I see two positives and then two negatives. So you can go see for yourself. Some people aren't happy about it. Some people are. Some people are upset about the false marketing. Some people don't care. I just want to warn people that it's not. I thought too, because the way that they presented us, that it was Ninja Gaiden 2 remaster, but it's not. It's more like a game that they made called Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 or whatever. I don't know. Again, no big horse in this race or whatever, but that's apparently what's going on. Some people like that, some people don't. Some people say they decrease the amount of enemies that you have to fight, and certain features are missing, and certain. There's also some tech issues that people are talking about. UE is apparently not well liked by some gamers for being kind of unstable. Um, so anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I was thinking about it. I'm kind of still back and forth on whether I'm going to play it or not. I might check it out, but I've also heard it has some technical issues, so might wait till that is smoothed over. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It is mostly positive on Steam, so that's a good sign. But yeah, I'll have to do my homework on it overall before I jump into it because $50 seems steep for this kind of game. But I had never played Ninja Gaiden 2 in a long time, so it does interest me. So, all right, let's move on to South of Midnight, which is developed by Compulsion Games. We got to see more story elements of the game. We got to see a lot of cutscenes and dialogue between all the characters. It was a very narrative based shown of the game because the last time we saw the game, it was very gameplay focused. Dory, what'd you think of South of Midnight?
So the Midnight looks really good. Combustion Games kind of has a lot of writing against it, unfortunately, because We Happy Few,
It was,
ironically, did not make a lot of people very happy.
yeah, it was
It had a
lackluster.
lot of,
Yeah,
it was very lackluster. Had a lot of issues. It had promise, and you could see where they were coming from and what they were trying to do. And I applaud the effort, but it ultimately didn't land for a lot of people.
yeah,
Um, this looks a lot better. The gameplay looks a lot more compelling to me. It's Game Pass. So I should clarify, I'm day one pretty much on every single game that they showed at Developer Direct. I thought this was incredible across the board. I forgot to say it earlier, but this Developer Direct was awesome. I said it way at the beginning of the show though. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I love that it's a Gothic Southern adventure. I think that's super unique and interesting. Um, I think that the music sounds really cool. The atmosphere, kind of uh doing the whole Spider-Verse thing. Um
yeah. The animation
yeah,
looks like Spider
with the
Verse.
animations and the frame rate. Yeah, exactly. So I like all that. I'm day one on this. Unless, I mean, again, like always, unless it somehow gets bombarded with mediocre reviews, then I probably won't use my time like that. But I doubt it. This looks like a 7 or an 8 to me. And so I'm excited for it. And I think the kind of space it's trying to carve out is really important. You just don't get a lot of kind of southern adventures, especially in the bayou and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm really into the whole aesthetic of the supernatural of the bayou. We don't really get that much. We've gotten a few games in Louisiana, but nothing like this. But it has a lot of the elements that I love in video games, which is cinematics, the big monsters, big platforming, awesome platforming. Looks like fun gameplay, narratives, a lot of cool things that I like in games, and the animation it stands out completely. So I'm excited for it. All right, Dory, can you tell us all about Clair Obscur Expedition 33? Your most hyped game feels like of the year
It's
so
got to
far.
be up there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, I was so excited for this. I knew that this was happening because the the studio behind it was hyping up the developers direct, and obviously they were listed and stuff. But I had forgotten that. Um, this looks like such a cool mix of dynamic menus via Persona, incredible storytelling, a la I don't know. I want to say even Baldur's Gate, but maybe that's putting the promise too high there. But in that vein of telling a very powerful, compelling story. Obviously, the Persona games do that too, and Metaphor Refantasio did that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just looks uh, it looks really good. We met some of our new companions. Kind of a excuse me, kind of a philosophy minded ally who can take the certain powers of enemies and use them against them once you've defeated them in combat. Um, it was really cool. It was a really good trailer. I was already really hyped for it. As Seb said, it's one of my possible goatees of the year. So I was over the moon about this. It's very French, set in a French fantasy world.
Yep.
Basically, the whole thing is that there is a timer that goes down every year. And this is the one where it gets to the age of 33. So everybody in this game is under 33. So now I feel old because I think actually just kind of morbidly realized this game would literally end me if I was in this fantasy world. But anyway, whoops. The devs are trying to kill me.
Watch you
But yeah, there is a
watch you magically disappear off the podcast. Just like
I know. Cap, I don't feel so good. Oh, Mr. Stark, sorry. But anyway, I've been so gung ho about this game. I've been tweeting at the devs here and there. Square Enix hyped them up, which I thought was a huge, like, I was very excited about that. Um, just generally, I think this game looks amazing. It's done by a passionate group of folks who know a lot about RPGs and have a unique art style. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. Seb, did you think anything while looking at the trailer?
Yeah. First of all, the art style looks incredible. There's a big focus on the art style in this showcase. They had the art designers talking to the camera. They were interviewed, and they jumped into the story, which is really interesting. I like the whole concept of dying at the age of 33. It seems like the number gets smaller each time, and they're going on a journey to stop it, basically, or I guess, or figure out how to stop it. The I thought the monsters, the creatures looked really unique and stand out. Very French, as you mentioned. It takes place in a fantasy France, in Paris. They showed the Eiffel Tower in the background. It looks really awesome. I think the colors really pop. I think the animation looks amazing. They put emphasis on a hub world, which was interesting. I didn't expect that. And then the cast of characters looks really fun. And I love the whole Persona vibe to this game. It looks like a JRPG and a Western RPG body. I think it looks great. I'm also really excited for this game. And I am day one on this game. I'm glad it's coming out relatively soon. I think we were pretty close in our predictions and when it was coming out, which we said the springtime. And well, we did say, well, the due date did say spring, but we thought it was like April or May. Yeah, it came out in April. So I forgot to mention the South of Midnight release date with Clair, Obscur, and both of them come out in April. South of Midnight comes out April 8th, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 comes out April 24th. So that's going to be a good month games for Game Pass. I will get them on Steam, but either way, I am excited to play both those games. And you have anything else to add before we move on to the final game of the showcase?
I love the graphical style. It just looks really appealing to me. It's kind of got like a hint of cartoony
Yeah.
with
There's a lot of humor in
with
this.
realistic graphics.
There was a lot of humor in this trailer, actually, like in the
Yeah, they were
showcase.
definitely trying to emphasize that the game is not all gloomy and doomy, and that there's some lighthearted moments too, and that it's going to have more of an adventure feel. It's not
Yeah.
just going to be, sadness all the time. I've already highlighted the voice cast, but some of the people involved here, like Ben Starr and Jennifer, I forget her name, but she's in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Uh, with Jennifer English, she is incredible, and so is Ben Starr. There's some other voice talent in the game as well that sound great. So yeah, I just have every single reason possible to be excited about this game. I love the way gameplay looks. It looks so dynamic and fresh. Um, Obviously, it is aping at things that we've seen before from Persona, especially with
Yeah.
their, like I said, dynamic menus. But I think it's doing an excellent job of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm really excited for this game. We've been hyping this game for quite a while now, so I'm glad that we finally got a release date for it and we can actually play it.
Yes, I am very excited. April is going to be a huge month.
Yes. All right, so let's move on to the final game of the showcase, which was Doom: The Dark Ages, which is also one of my most hyped games of the year. And this serves as a prequel to Doom 2016, and it takes place in like a medieval context. The big emphasis they put on in this showcase was the stand and fight combat, because you're basically a tank with a big ass shield, and there's a lot of parrying and close hand to hand combat in this game. They put a big emphasis that like this Doom Eternal was all about jumping and shooting, but this one's about standing still and fighting like a tank, and you definitely can see that he's like punching demons in the face. I can't think of another shooter with this focus on like hand to hand combat like this. Like it's very unique. It has a very unique like look to it because it's like a mix between cybernetics and medieval at the same time. Like, so I can't think of another game that done that. So it looks really awesome. I mean, everything about this game looks phenomenal. Like the gameplay, first of all, it just looks incredible. It stands out. It's gonna be one of the best gameplay of the year. The visuals look amazing as well. There's a lot going on screen as you expect from a Doom game. It looks batshit crazy as you expect from a Doom game at this point. Doom Eternal was amazing. It was my top 10 games of 2020, and I've been really hyped for this game ever since they showed it at the Xbox show last year. Uh, what else can I say? I'm a big Doom fan. I played every Doom game since their OG in the 90s, and I will get this game day one. Like, this is must play game for me. It comes out May 15th of this year, so not too far from the other games. So the first half of the year for Xbox is awesome, and
Very good.
like I said, I'm getting them on Steam. But either way, great year for Microsoft because they get my money either way. And if you have a Game Pass, like doesn't I don't personally use Game Pass, but if you do have Game Pass, phenomenal first half of the year. So Dory, what'd you think of the gameplay and everything? Like with the cybernetic dragon and and the focus on that and the big mech tank and all the awesome combat in this game. What'd you think?
Um, sorry, one second.
Mm.
So, I gotta be real. I liked Doom 2016, and I liked Doom Eternal about the same amount. I needed to lie down after I played a couple hours of Doom Eternal. I felt really overwhelmed. The game moves at a breakneck speed, and I think eventually my neck did feel like it was going to come off my body. So I'm very happy that we are chilling the fuck out a little bit. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was a lot to take in. And after like a 2 hour play session, I was like, I'm gonna go take a fucking break. Maybe I'll go play some Animal Crossing. I don't even like Animal Crossing, but I just was trying to think of the most peaceful game I could think of. Like, so I'm really glad that they have got this theme of rip and tear, jump and move, and now stand and fight. That's not exactly how it went, but that's the basic. You're kind of like Seb said, basically a tank. You've got this flail, and you've got a couple other melee weapons. You've got this. We've talked about it before, but this goddamn machine that grinds up your enemies' skulls and then shoots them at other enemies, and then I believe you can then pick up the corpses of your enemies who you've just killed with that weapon, and then add more ammo. So that is one of the coolest sentences I've ever said in my life, and I don't think it'll be topped anytime soon. It looks awesome. I'm very excited. I'm glad we're going back to more of a strafe focus. I can't believe I'm saying that because I never thought I would have like a big take on that, but I think it's a good idea. It makes this game feel different, and I'm glad that they're not just like, well, we can just do Doom Eternal again, and we can just make it even faster. Or, I'm glad they're slowing it down. They're bringing it back to basics. I thought Doom and Doom Eternal were both great games. I had some problems with them here and there. I don't give a shit about the lore. That's one of my big things with Doom is they always try to get me to care about the lore, and I'm like, I'm here to rip and tear. I am not here to read and learn. But so and I had some other issues too. Some of the boss fights I didn't like, but generally speaking, I love those games. I think they're great. I think they're super fun. I'm really glad. Also, we didn't talk about it before, but they are just axing multiplayer. There's no multiplayer at all. They're just focusing on single player. Not because the last game had shitty multiplayer or anything, but just because they really want to give us that good comprehensive single player experience. So I love that for them. I'm really excited about this. I'm absolutely day one. If I could go back into the dark ages and get it day negative 5,632, I would. But I'm very excited for it. Every single game that Xbox showed here was great. And finally, all the developers they've been buying up, as much as I don't like monopolies, is paying off. And I'm very excited for what this year is going to bring for Xbox. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, this is a great showcase for Xbox, which is really needed it. 2025 is shaping up to be an awesome year for Xbox. This is only the first half of the year, and they still got Fable
Yes.
coming out. I mean, they still got Outer Worlds 2. Still got
Yeah.
Avowed coming out next month. So it's loaded, and I'm glad for people. If you have an Xbox console, for sure. Like I said, I'm getting them on Steam, but either way, I am going to be playing all of these games day one. Besides Ninja Gaiden Black, but because I'm still on the fence, I need to see some reviews first. But either way, all the new games, I mean, at the same time, I was already hyped for these games before the showcase. So even if I never got a showcase, I was always getting these games. We talked about these games already in the past, so it's not like anything out of nowhere. There was no surprises besides Ninja Gaiden. So yeah, I can't stress how hyped I am for a lot of these games or all of these games. And yeah, it was a great show. I was very entertained. I'm usually not a big fan of the dev diary style of interviews with like because I just want to see gameplay and that sells me on a game more than anything else. But I respect the devs too, and and it was well paced and interesting and entertaining, and it flew by. So I really enjoyed the show. I was very happy, and that's pretty much it. For this showcase and for this episode. So
Yep.
next week we will start with our February games coming out. What we're interested in because we're already in a new month. This is the last episode of the January, and we'll go from there. What else comes out? Whatever news there is,
I'm
and
very excited for Citizen Sleeper 2, which comes out next Friday, so
yep.
that'll absolutely be on my spotlight.
Yeah, we'll see what I spotlight. I don't know yet. I've jumped around so many games so far this year. I mean, I've had a very zombie heavy start to my 2025. I've beaten 8 games so far, and 6 of them have been Resident Evil games, and 7 of them have been zombie games. So it's been a very zombie heavy focus. But I did beat Mafia as well today, and I am finishing up Final Fantasy 7 Intergrade and Final Fantasy 16, and I am ready. I am hoping to be ready to play Rebirth next month, which came out this week. 'Cause I'm dying to see how it looks on PC. All right, Dory, thanks for joining me. Have a good night.
Hope everyone enjoyed the Developer Direct. Again, everybody else is going to have to match that energy for the rest of the year because that was incredible. Hey, hats off. If I had a hats off to Xbox. Incredible showcase. Every single game I wanted, and even the games like Ninja Gaiden Black that I was undecided on, I still had interest in, and was still like excited to hear about it. So yeah, hats off to the devs. It was really well done, and I think everyone's going to have to match that because it was an excellent showcase. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to see it. It's hype. Even if you know all the games, I think just hearing from the devs themselves and seeing the footage, it's a lot of gameplay, which is just the best thing because you actually get to see how the damn game plays, which for some reason is becoming more and more of an oddity in the game industry. So yeah, I will delay us no further. Thanks everybody for watching, and I am looking forward to Citizen Sleeper 2.
All right, guys. Good night. Peace.